that we are by getting my chat up to see who's in and waiting already. We're slightly late this morning, but that is my fault. I am trying to find a BitLocker key for a device, a Microsoft device I have, and man, I have been going round and round and round in circles. You'd think they'd make it a little easier than they do, but they don't, and so I'm stuck. But we'll get there, won't we, Microsoft? We will get there. So, welcome to another day of streams. We have two today, one at 12 PM GMT, which is now, and the other at 6 PM. So in 5 hours after this one, we will do another one. Today, unlike the others that have been kind of how-tos, today we're going to explore more lesson design. So we're going to be looking at mathematics today. Where are some of the ways I've used mathematics in the last 11 years in Minecraft in schools? So, and libraries and museums and art galleries and all the magical places that we've used Minecraft to teach. So, let me, a little cover for my laptop's not working there. I'm also going to get some colour in this house. Whoop. And then my little light at the back. I love this light at the back. It just kind of, bing, makes the difference, right? And changes all the colour. I like it. The office is now officially open. And so, let's begin simply by having a look at mathematics. I want to start by starting a maths world, and we'll explore the very basics of doing maths, and then I'll show you some of the worlds that we've built out, like our Mathpocalypse world with Phygital Labs, or our plain, just beautifully designed mathematics dedicated world. We've done maths with ancient Egypt and so on. So let's just start with, we're going to click play, then we're going to go view my worlds. We're also going to explore how maths can be used in code towards the end of this stream. And start new world. New, and then we're always I'm just going to say mathematics demo. We always name our worlds, remember that. Then we go creative, because we want to just be able to play in here. I am going to make this a peaceful world, because we don't want monsters, but we do want mobs, because we're going to use mobs for some maths. Nobody's going to be joining me, so permission level doesn't matter. We're going to make this infinite, because I would normally do a maths demo in a flat world, but I kind of want to show you what we can do with things like trees and mobs and maybe the height of a cliff or something like that. So let's just play around with that and see. Engaging your children in maths is notoriously difficult. I know that we've engaged in projects all over the world where quite literally the client has brought us in and said, our maths results last year really struggled, help. And so, and that's the basis of the work that we get, is our maths results are lower than they were the year before, help us out. Or there's a set group of students that are not grasping this particular area of maths, help us out. We want to look at different ways of doing that. And so we're going to put coordinates on. I always do, just good practice. We are going to need Code Builder, because I'm going to use that later. I want it to be always day. Let's click Show Classroom Settings. And we're going to go perfect weather, don't need it to rain, although we could do something with maths around timing of rain. Mobs, yes. Destructive items, yes. And then the rest is just, let's just keep it the same way. So let's see what we get this time. We always get a different world, so I love seeing what we get this time. We might get a nice village, we might get a nice beach. Let's see. I'm just clearing some space on my whiteboard there in case I need to use coordinates. So first things first, let's explore. Ooh, giant mushrooms. We're on the edge of a swamp. Let's go find something. Oh, and there's a nice desert. We couldn't find a desert biome when we were doing the biomes stream. Speaking of which, if you want to catch up with any of our streams, you can do so at youtube.com/c/immersive minds, and you can catch up on the basics, settings, world settings, game settings. We did, oh look at this place over here, let's go over here. We did coding, we did redstone, we've done a lot, we've done biomes, and we've done mobs so far, so check those out. Aimed at teachers, parents and students, our streams are designed to help you understand Minecraft from a learning perspective, a learning and teaching perspective. Oh, look at that. There's a village. Let's head over there and see if we can do some math. This is lovely. This is like that place in Up. Do you remember the Disney movie Up? You just see the little house landing over here somewhere. But here's a village, and this guy must be like... This is like Mad Max, where they only release the water. Fury Road. They only release the water to the people below when they want to. That's what that's like. Alright, so... Hey, learning like a boss. Thanks for coming in. Tom like a pro. Thanks for coming in. An immersive cat. Hi. Let me know where you're from and where you, there's an ocelot and where you're coming in from. Oh, he's somebody living even higher. I like this, although his house is flooded, so we might have to do something about that. I tell you what, just so we can save this poor guy's farm, let's just get rid of that water. See how we did that? We haven't done water and fire mechanics yet on our streams, but we will be, and we just killed the source. The source of the water was this block, and we killed it. So that's one of the rules that I'll talk to you about later. But I like this little village. I think I'm going to keep this, and we'll just turn this into a lesson world later. Probably not a practical place to live geographically. I think if you're a geography teacher at any point on the world, hi from the world. And so, there we are. I think if this was a practical place, I think geography teachers are probably looking at this thinking, yep, that's not going to work. That is a landslide just waiting to happen, particularly with that waterfall, and so on. Bron in Sydney, g'day. What time is it there for you? It must be, what is it, late afternoon for you there, Bron? So thanks for joining us. So we're going to be looking at maths, and we're going to use this little village. I can see how easily distracted I get, and this is exactly why I don't put my children into infinite worlds first. You know, teachers will often say to me, why don't we just stick kids in an infinite world? Why do you always start with a flat world? I start with a flat world because kids can get distracted. You're doing maths, you don't need a village. I mean, I want a village, but you don't need a village. And so this is something that I'm really quite I push when I'm working with teachers is, what is it you need for the world? Remember the environment. We did a whole live stream on the environment of your worlds. What biome do you need? What distractions do you or do you not need for your kids? And so I'm terrible at it. I get distracted. So let's do some basic maths. I'm going to head out to the desert here and we're going to do some basic maths. Let's just get ourselves some coloured wool. And to do that I'm going to press E, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to get myself the colours of the rainbow. So let's start with green, yellow, orange, red. All I'm doing is just clicking on these and popping them into my inventory. And then we're going to go purple, blue and light blue. That'll do. That's a nice little range there. Look at that. And then we can use this to do maths. We can use coloured wool to do the very, very basics of maths, and this is a great way to start. I've quite often had teachers say to me, maths teachers say to me, come on then, just show me one thing you can do with maths that would teach primary school children how to count. And so we do. So we say, okay, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many green blocks are there? Now, you're probably thinking, hang on a minute, that's like way too simple, surely. But this is a great place to start. What if we add 2 blocks, regardless of the colour? How many in total? So we can have our children counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, add 2, 6 and 7. What if we were to take away 2? So we just take away 2. Regardless of the colour. How many blocks are there? And so on. What if we were to do something like percentages? Let's move that to percentages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 blocks. What percentage of the blocks are yellow? So then we can do percentages. What if we moved, and this is always amazing to me, but what if we moved the yellow block to there? Now what percentage of the blocks are yellow? And I've seen kids struggle with this. I've seen kids go, oh, and then they have to count it again, and then they realise that it's still only one block. Let's do 2 or 3 and so on. What if it wasn't a line? What if it was something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10? What if that was our pattern of 10 and we did that? Now what percentage of the blocks? Now we know it's the same sum. We as adults and teachers know that that's the same sum. But we're just posing the mathematics differently. And look how quickly it took me to do that. You could do this on paper, of course. Mathematics on paper, there's nothing wrong with that. But really quickly, if you know your Minecraft and you know how to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 1. That took seconds to create a puzzle that is in a 3D digital environment that allows children to move around and explore that puzzle for themselves. In fact, say to the kids, move the yellow block anywhere you like. I put it there, but you might want to put it there and then replace this one with green. Let the kids do it themselves. Let them play with the maths. What if we just did a different colour and said, okay, what percentage of that row is not green? Just different colours. So then we're getting them to play around with that. Super basic. Key stage 2, probably minimum. Key stage 2 maximum actually, for something like this. Excuse me. But it's 11 PM there for you, Bron. Are you a night owl? Do you tend to stay up late? Is this normal for you? Or I suppose I'm asking if you're just staying up late for me, Bron. So good to have you in though, thanks so much. I hope you and your family are safe and well on the other side of the world. How crazy is it that this is a global, like truly global thing that's kind of keeping us all in our homes and pushing us to explore new techniques. Well, actually they're not new to you and I, this is the irony, but you know, these ways of reaching our new audiences for schools and libraries and so on. And Bron, I know that you're very active in building community, so this is, you know, every cloud has a silver lining, and I imagine that you are, the work that you do and the thought processes that you adopt, which are wonderful, are in demand right now. Yes, exactly, see new opportunities, right? And so, I hope that people are coming to you and tapping your expertise. So what if we did something like, and this is just, you know, as we said, super basic math, but what if we did something like, let me get a fence. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to build a fence. It doesn't really matter. I mean, we could, for the sake of the demo, I'm not measuring it exactly, but let's just see if we had a little fence here, a little farm. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to get spawn animals. So I'm going to get a chicken and a pig. And I'm going to put a chicken and a pig in there. And then I'm going to get myself a gate. Now we can do all sorts of things about, now they're both in the same corner, so I'm going to put the gate over there and I'm going to open it. We can now just explore, and I did this in one of the other streams, what is the, there they are, both in the same corner. What are the chances that the pig will escape first? They know there's an open gate. Oh, ta-da! It's just an algorithm, it's random coding. Look, the rabbit's gone in, the pig's come out. The game doesn't really, I mean, gates happen to attract attention, but the attention between the pig and the chicken didn't really matter. In fact, here goes, the chicken's away out now. And so probability, real simple, it's not mathematically entirely accurate. I get that. There's probably math teachers out there going, yeah, but like, when did you spawn the animal? How long was the algorithm running? Was the pig originally closer to the gate than the chicken? I get it. But for getting the kids to think about the fact that really it was 50-50 to begin with, until we add 2 chickens and a pig. Surely, regardless of where the pig is, that's going to change, right? That's going to change the algorithm. What's the probability that the pig's going to escape first now? And he didn't. Because there's twice, oh, and he's off, and there's twice the chance that the chicken did. So let's do this again. Let's this time look at data collection. Let's see if we wanted to create a spreadsheet that said pigs and chickens, and then we wanted the kids to fill it out. So we're just going to run this experiment. We're just going to put them both in the corner. There we are, and we're going to open the gate. So let's just say we've already had the pig escape first. So that's one tick for the pigs. Let's just wait and see another one. One to the chickens. And piggy should head out now. Oh, get out of it. Go. So let's do it again. So let's do chicken and pig. So that's one apiece. And suddenly we're making data. But there's a nice way of visualizing that data. There we go. Chickens. That's 2 to the chickens. So let's just take ourselves a sign. And say chickens. And another sign there that says pigs. And then on a very, very basic level, we can say, right, 2 to the chickens, 1 to the pigs. And actually, we'll just colour them appropriately. So let's get white wool, and we'll get pink wool. There we go. Oops, it's the wrong stuff. And let's just colour those appropriately so that we now know that we're creating a bar chart and it's first to 10. So let's do this again. Let's go and get a chicken and a pig. We could also use a piece of code. Let me just see what that looks like. Oh, chicken's gone in, ignore him. We just need to, chicken's gone out. Okay, so now we can do that. And if you've got this happening in multiple worlds, the kids are going to have all of their own data ranges. I'm going to get a sword so I can clear this out quickly. He was heading out anyway. I was a bit unfair there. I was a bit too quick to kill the piggy. Animal cruelty, I know. It happens in Minecraft. So we're going to just do chicken, pig, and we're going to watch again. And this time the pig made a run straight for it. And so on and so on and so on. And all of a sudden we have experiments, mathematical experiments with data collection. And it's real simple. It's primary school stuff, or certainly differentiated for children of different abilities. But what we end up with is we end up with this ability for the children to visually collect data while using numbers. Then we can start looking at averages and medians. What was the average time that it took? So let's try this again. Let's have a timer, and this time we're going to put pig in the corner and we're going to just time him. That's it. So let me just get my stopwatch up here. Physical stopwatch, there we are. If I knew where that was, I don't even know where that is. Shows how often I use my stopwatch. Time, clock, stopwatch. Right, let's do that again. I'm just going to go down and I'm going to say now. Okay, here we go. Just going to time this little piggy to see when he gets out. So he's going to go. Oh, he's not gone yet. Come on, little guy. You know you want to. They will inevitably head for the gate. There we go. 15 seconds. Let's try that again. And we can have them display time on that. So let's just get ourselves, while we're waiting on him doing that, let's just get ourselves a board. He's still in there. And beside it, we can place the board here and we can say 15 seconds. What was the next one? He's still in there. Go on. (25, 20, 30 seconds so far. 30 seconds. Oh, 35. This guy's taking his... Oh, and he's off. Oh, look at that. They clashed in the gate. But let's just say 40 seconds. So let's just say 40 seconds. There we go. So this guy was 40 seconds. And then we're going to do that one more time. And again, we could do this as often as we like. We could tell the kids that we need to do this across 10 pegs. I'm not going to. But this is data collection, playing with numbers, mathematics. Let's not get confused with which pig is which. I'm going to get rid of that one. Sorry, little fella. Right in front of the other one. That's so bad. There we go. Oh, so he was just under 20 seconds. So he was 19 seconds. So there we go. And so we start to build up data. So all I'm thinking about in this Minecraft world, using blocks and signs and fences and animals, are number systems. That's all I'm thinking about at the moment. What if we wanted to do something like, I'm just going to keep going with ideas. Let's take this village for example. What is the area of this person's house? So this is a standard made house. What area in meters, bearing in mind that a single block, so I'll just place a single block of pink wool here, a single block is a meter cubed. What is the area of this person's house? So I would remove the door, remove the bed and remove the chest, and then I would have the children replace it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we know that's 3. So 3 by 3. And then actually, technically, you would have that space there. But if we just wanted to stick to, if we didn't include doorways, and I quite often say that to the kids, don't include doorways, what is the area of this person's house? Or, what is the area of this person's house, including the roof? So now we've got a very different thing, because we have to include, let's just see that, technically, there. Sorry chicken, I just hit the chicken. Here we go. And suddenly we have, oops, no, it's that way, look. Let's just get rid of this. And the kids have to sort of destroy or do what they need to do to measure this. There we go, there we go. And so now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 7. And so that's a very different sum all of a sudden. So we're looking at area of the buildings. We can also look at volume. So what if we were to say, well, including the height, which is that size, what volume of space does that man's house take up? I say man's, it's because I saw a villager coming out of it later. There he is. So what volume of space does that take up? So suddenly we have our X, so let's do that with green. I'm just going to go and get myself some green wool. Actually, we'll get lime. I should always remember that. Lime is nicer. Lime, green, blue, and red. And what we end up with is, if I just find this space over here, we've got our starting space, which is there, and then we have 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, oops, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's our X, Y, and Z. So if I just put over here, that's not really an X. I should have done that. There we go. X. This wasn't necessary, but it's nice just to be able to show you what I mean. So that's our X coordinate. This is our, I need green for this one. Y coordinate. And this is our Z coordinate. And we can help our children to understand 3D space from a mathematical perspective. I think that's it. That is a really bad Z, but there you go. Tom Like a Pro would really like a video on how to make 2D games on Python. Well, that is not my bag, I have to say, Tom, so I'm really sorry. I don't do 2D, I don't do game development on Python, I have to say. That's a really bad Z, right? It's like a 7 with a line written under it. But anyway, you get the idea. X, Y, and Z. And so we're thinking in 3D now, right? We're thinking numbering systems, we're thinking shape, we're thinking volume, and so on. What are the principles of the shapes of this house? So let's look at 2D and 3D shapes, and I'll move you to another world for this. But the principles of the shapes of this house are, let's use red to create the side of the house. There we go. So the house is technically a rectangle, if we look at it that way. And then the roof, if I do this in blue, the roof is we could probably pop one on top there, and the roof is a triangle. So now we're thinking about 2D shapes. So we can say, well, I'll tell you what, I know that that house, although it looks more complex like that for real, that house is made up of two 2D shapes. That is a flat shape of a rectangle and the flat shape, give or take, of a triangle, and so on. So let me take you to another world just to show you what that looks like. I'm going to take you to my mathematics world. I have many mathematics worlds, but for this one, there it is there, immersive mathematics. And we're going to head over to 2D and 3D shapes. This world is dedicated just to learning maths. So we've got symmetry over here, we have tessellation on this side, we have 2D and 3D shapes over here, and at the other side we have grid referencing. And if we head down to here, we have either 3D shapes or 2D shapes over here. So let's just look at this. And this is a really nice broad way of looking at how shapes can be explored using Minecraft. So here we have the most basic. We're going to start here. How do we draw a square? So what I do is I hold that up back, and then I get the kids to put paper up against the screen and just lightly follow the blue, the blue dots. Follow the blue dots. It's just a piece of paper, and they go up and they do that with a pen, with a soft pen. And then when they come away, they're like, that's a square, that's a rectangle. What if you didn't have the colour reference and you just had the dots, for example? What about a triangle? It's difficult in Minecraft to see a triangle, but if you draw between this line, this line, this line, and this line, you get a triangle. Okay, I'll show you later how we do different triangles. What about a semicircle? Just by getting the kids to follow the colour. This one here, what's this? What did I do this one for? Oh yeah, these lessons link nicely to symmetry. So what about symmetrical shapes and shapes that are not symmetrical? What about a circle? So we start, they're more difficult to create with blocks, but think bigger. And so there we have a circle. And then what we can do is we can teach our kids from the centre of the circle, we can start to say, well, this is the radius, this line marks the radius, the blue line marks the diameter, and the grey line marks the circumference of that circle. So we can teach them the language of 2D and 3D shapes. And then we have, what's the pink part? The area. So what's the area of this circle? And we can start to get our kids doing stuff like this just with shapes. What if we did angles? So this one here is an angle. Split the circle into angles and then have them measure that angle. We know this is a 45-degree angle. But what if we held a piece of paper over this and we had the children draw this line and this line, and then what is the angle of that? And they can use different tools, mathematical tools, to work out the angle of that. And so it's just a really nice way of looking at angles using blocks. What was this one? Why have we got that? Polygons. Yeah, so how do we draw polygon shapes? And again, tracing them out. You'll be interested in this one. This one are the 3 different types of triangles. So if I just hover down this one, if you were to hold the paper, say we were to go back as far as, because remember, the further back you go, the smaller the area is that they have to draw. And you can still see it. I wish I could show you this, but it's more difficult on a stream to show you me holding a piece of paper up to then do the exercise. You hold it up, and then what they can do is they can draw the, there's an equilateral. So the third one's their equilateral triangle. And then there's their, I think that's isosceles, and then the third one is the 2 even, and then the 1 longer. I can't remember what that's called. Answers in the chat, if you will. And so we've got the 3 separate triangles there as the green ones. Isosceles, equilateral. Man, look at that. I need to go back to school. Here's another way of doing angles as well. Just what angle is that? Now, what I've also done is I've created these lights. And if I push these carts, what we end up with is we end up with the triangles. So it's like the pencil. That is the pencil. Do anybody remember, for anybody who's watching who might remember, the magic pencil? We used to get it in school. It was a video that they put on, and then this pencil would light up and it would draw the letter D, and it would go up, down, a right angled triangle, thank you. And it would, and the narrator, as the magic pencil was hovering, and it was all just done using like black felt, so you couldn't see the person holding the hand or the string or whatever, but it was up, down, round, and up, and that would be the D, or round, up, down, and curl, and we would copy it while we were watching the magic. I loved the magic circle. The magic pencil. Well, that's what this is like. If you look down at that, the kids can then follow that and say, right, I know that is lighting up the 3 points that's most important. Let's see what this one is. We can do this for squares and all sorts, but I've just done it on triangles. So there's a slightly different triangle, and then we can do the same over here. Whoops, that one's taking its time. Ping, 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 ping. And so scaling, lovely. Thanks, Tom. And so many ways that we can really quickly engage children in 2D shapes. But what if we then said, well, what's 3D? Like that house that I showed you. And so we then start to create those. So what does a cube look like? I mean, we can start off looking at it like this, but then we can also say, well, what if it was a cube? What if it was how do we turn a rectangle into a cuboid? What about cylindrical? What does that look like? What does a triangle become when we turn it into a 3D shape? It can become cone-like, or it can become, so there's cone, conical, and then, I don't even know what that's called, trianguloid. I'm going to put that word right out there into the stream, and we're going to see what people come back with. Is it not a prism or a prismoid? I'm going to put that out as well. Prismoid. Man, I should have paid more attention at school. But I love this because this is how we all learn, right? But here's the thing. I then move that to an assessment, and I say to the kids, and these were made by children, by the way, on this orange platform. I then said to the kids, take these, prism, take the shapes that I've just given you, the shapes that you've just made, and then what I want you to do is I want you to build something from them. So you'll see that these kids built a cube, which of course is a Minecraft cake. But this clever kid took a prism and made a tent, complete with animals and a campfire. And this clever cookie made a spray can using a cylinder, a cone, and a cube. And so we can start to see just how clever, and an ice cream cone using that would be semi-circle. Well, no, that would be a circle. So that would be a ball, a sphere, if you like, of ice cream, and then a cone to hold it in at the bottom. And this was made by kids. I think these kids were 11 or 10. I think they're 10 and 11. And we basically said, let's go look at 3D shapes and turn them into something. All right. And so, how do we manage subject knowledge? Yeah, so I think if I take your questions, Learning Like a Boss has said, how do you manage subject knowledge when you're planning lessons? So first of all, know your audience, which I think if you're teaching in school, you've got a good idea of the level your kids are at, particularly as well considering differentiation for kids who are more knowledgeable or more advanced than others, more able perhaps, and then also know the curriculum. So before we develop worlds like this, we ask. So for example, it might be a Canadian client that would come to us and say, our maths results, we're not getting the engagement in maths that they wanted to, we're not getting the retention and the attainment that we wanted to in those areas, and we need help. And the first thing I say to them is, bring me your curriculum, show me what it looks like, tell me what you're teaching. And as a result, I've worked now with, God, I can't tell you how many, I know the Swedish curriculum, the Scottish, of course, and the UK. I've worked with the Australian curriculum. I've read the South African curriculum from beginning to end, and really sort of know the nuts and bolts of the curriculum. What is it we're trying to achieve? What are the outcomes and objectives? How will this be assessed? Because at the end of the day, I can build these incredible experiences, but if it doesn't link to the ultimate assessment, and sadly that's the truth, we are all teaching to the test still, but if it doesn't allow students to get to their test and have the knowledge embedded, that the client needs me to have given them, then I've failed, and I don't fail. And so I read the curriculum and I understand the audience. I work with the teachers in in 63 countries to say, 62, apologies, to say, tell me about your children, tell me about your group. So when I was out in Turkey, for example, and we did the Hagia Sophia using Just Code, I was able to say to the teachers, tell me about your children, where are they at, what kind of code are they doing, give me an example, show me their work. And then I was able to sort of ascertain over a short period of time just what I thought those students were capable of. And that's difficult because I get parachuted in to do these things all the time and I'm not with the kids day to day. And that's where it really sort of works well with the teachers. If you're a homeschooler, then you're going to know. You're going to know what your kid's capable of, and you're going to want to push and you're going to want to take them to the edge. And here's the other thing as well, that conversation triggers for me. Be prepared to use Minecraft to push those borders and those boundaries. I had a maths teacher once say to me, precisely this sort of stuff. Let me just head over here. I was going to do this, by the way, this is the assessment as I pass this. This is build a roller coaster that uses 2D shapes to, so you'll see there that they've used a sphere. And then over here they've used a bigger sphere. Oh no, that wasn't a sphere, that was a, what would that be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's an octagon. Hexagon. And then over here was a sphere, and then they went round a cube, and then they went through a semicircle, and they went over a triangle, and so on and so on. And it was just a bit of fun for them. But here's the thing. What I started to do was, let's just get ourselves some wool. Let's have some orange and some yellow. Was I started to use graph paper to have the kids fill out plan, elevation and side elevation. This was technically we were doing maths, but it involved plan, elevation, side elevation and understanding angles of looking at things. And so if I was to draw just what I see there in orange on a piece of paper, it's a square, right? On graph paper it's just a square. And then I would ask them to draw the side of that building, which is also a square. Then I would ask them to draw the plan of the building, which is also a square. And so by the time you've projected, and if anybody's familiar with plan, elevation, side elevation and technical drawing techniques, you're just projecting. So it's the side. And then the kids are like, yeah, but it's just a square. And I say, good, okay. Well, what if we did that? It's still just a square. Minecraft doesn't help you see it quite as flat as you need to. And then from above, it's actually just a rectangle. But from the side, it's suddenly very different. And what if I added one more? And it doesn't matter the colour, we could add one there. And suddenly we have a very, very different set of skills that our children must learn. And so it's really simple to do. And I remember the teacher at the time saying to me, impossible. Like, you're throwing these kids, they were 8 years old, you're throwing these kids in at stuff we're not teaching until they're 11 and 12. Some of them aren't grasping technical drawing until they're 13. That's what they do in secondary school. And he was quite harsh, I have to say, and I won't mention any names. In fact, we've become colleagues since, and he loves Minecraft. But at the time, he was very harsh, and he said to me, good luck. And we did it, and the kids thrived on it, and they loved it, and they challenged themselves, and they challenged each other, and they made funny buildings, and they added funny shapes, and they challenged each other. And the girls in particular loved it. They made all these beautiful drawings using the graph paper, and they loved it. And if I just show you what came out of that project, I'm going to move to another world. As we progressed, we were doing a thing on, they were doing another project on geographical countries, country geography. And one of the things I wanted them to do was build a flag. And so if I go into, and it's not immersive education, it's a different one. Let me find the right one. Apologies. I've got so many worlds that I need to just make my way through them. I will find it. There we are, Drama World, and it's not actually Drama World. This has got so many things in it. This is a theatre, by the way, so here's the stage, and you can have the children build the stage and then have them have the hero and the villain and the dancers and the actors. And then up here we've got the stalls, and then we've got over here we have the what do they call those things? The boxes, the royal box. And then if we head down here, we have the ticket booth. In fact, I'm just going to go. Let me just go to settings and make it always day so you can see the beauty of this. Always day, there we are. And then that's how you get upstairs to the stalls and ticket office and whatnot. But if we head outside, just going to clear the weather. If we head outside, you can see that the entire thing is actually a theatre. So the kids built it as a theatre for us when we were doing a big drama exercise. We also have museums and we have pubs. We have an art gallery over there. We have fire stations and schools and all sorts of things. Actually, there's a really nice maths exercise in here. But if I head over to here, what we did was we were doing geography. And these were the same children that 3 months earlier we had taught plan elevation, side elevation to. And so we started doing flags. And the kids loved it because they did the flags and they thought this was great, and it was, you know, they did the British flag and they did the South African flag and so on, and they were able to do those flags and they thought this was fantastic. And then I decided to move to a more complex way of doing the flag, and so we moved to this. And I said to them, what if we had it frozen in time but blowing in the wind? Bearing in mind these were the same kids, they were 8 and 9, but a mix of 8 and 9 years old. And this was a group of 3 girls that took the British flag and they did it all on graph paper. So they did a side elevation, so this would be the elevation, and then they did a side elevation, which was this, and then they did the plan, which of course is this. And once they'd done that on paper and they understood what that should look like from above and what it should look like therefore from the front, and they projected, and they, you know, they used multiple pieces of paper and they got it wrong at times, but once they had done that, they then produced this and then came to me and said, we made this. And that was a mix of 2 lessons. It was the mathematical lessons and the technical drawing lessons that we'd given them last time 3 months ago, and on my geography revisit we were able to mix those skills in. Hence the teacher and I are now friends and colleagues, because he's just like, this just keeps going. It just, like, there's nothing you can't link into all of this stuff. And so to take the children from this to this is just, it's a stretch, it's a risk. Do it. My advice to you as homeschoolers or teachers is Minecraft actually facilitates a far greater willingness for your children to push themselves. They get into the world and they want to show off and they want to impress and they want to learn and they want to break and build and try, and so they will, and so you can push them, and so don't be afraid of that. Let's go into, I'm just going to head over here. Here's another maths exercise. I'm just throwing, this stream is all about maths that we've done, so just bear with me. But if we head into, actually I won't go into that one. I'll show you in a different world. Another maths exercise before I go to the one I was about to show you is this one. If we head into this, now you'll see here that it's a block of apartments, and you can see the kids have been working on this side, but on this side we have a block of apartments. One's on fire, so ignore that. But if we head down to the very bottom, and I'm just going to knock the door out to get in, you'll see that when we go in, they're all empty apart from a rug and a bookshelf, and then there's a bathroom, and then there's a kitchen, and then there's out to a small veranda. Have the children do maths around the house. Give them a house, give them a block of apartments. You know, say you've got 30 apartments, because I'm going to go across and there's another one. And it's just slightly different rug, doesn't have a thing this time, a bookcase, and in the bathroom and so on. And here's what my advice would be. Get them to learn about, remember we did the exercise recently, hang on, I'm just going to get rid of that. Let's just imagine they want to put a wooden floor down, and they need to know how much that wooden floor is going to cost. And so to decorate, they're going to put in a darker wood on their floor. So they're like, you know what, I want to do that. But we know that this $5 or £5 or €5, wherever you are in the world, a block. So that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So just doing that is £50. And we've only given them a budget of £1,000 to do the whole house. So there's 70, 80, 90. They're probably going to have to lift the carpet, lift the rug. So there's 100. That's 10% of their whole budget, and they've only done half the floor. That's all they've done. And so, well, we got 110. 120, 140, 160, 180, 200. There we go. So doing that, the other half gives them the. So they're like, I like it. It's a darker wood. I like it. You know what we're like for it. People are like that. They're like, I want a slightly darker wood in the living room and a slightly lighter wallpaper. If we want them to change the wallpaper, let's just say they're going to change the wallpaper to orange. And so they go in there and they say, right, now that's going to be $2 per block, so that we know that a strip of wallpaper is $8 or £8 or whatever. And so we can start to do the math. And we can work out what it's going to cost them to decorate a house. Now kids love that. Kids will praise you for letting them have the freedom to go in and decorate a space, a house that they're allowed to decorate. If they want a sofa, they can choose any colour of sofa, but it's going to cost them £80, and so on and so on. And you can have a little a spreadsheet, and that spreadsheet allows you to keep a calculation of that and find out if they go over budget. And it just doesn't have to be internal either. I mean, they can say, look, I'm going to get rid of the fire, but even destruction, even getting rid of something, as we know in our own homes as adults, you want to rip out an old fireplace, you're going to have to spend, say, $5 every time you get rid of something. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So that costs $30 just to get rid of the fire, and so on. And you can make that as much as you want. And so, let me just, sorry, I'm just dealing with something at the moment. And so what we can do is we can, and they can buy furniture as well. They can do things like, I want a pot plant. And so let's just get a flower in there. And we'll just get a little, oh, that one doesn't work. Hang on, let me just go into there and go to flowers and get a, let's just get a dandelion. Stick a dandelion. Oh, that's not working either. Why is that not working? Oh, there we are. It was because it's been converted from Java, so the pots weren't working. So there we go. So we could put that in. But hey, we all go out to IKEA and we buy a bit of furniture, and at the very end we think, I'll grab a plant. But that's going to cost us $15 or £15 or whatever. Maybe they want to do some landscaping. Maybe they want to turn this into a cupboard, and so on. And before you know it, all the children in the block have done something entirely different for their mathematics. And they can bring that to you and they can say, actually, this is what I did, this is what it costs, and here's why I did it. There we go. So we've got schools, we've got businesses. Kids can run businesses is a great one, but let me take you to a different world altogether. Oh, this is the Tetris Hotel. How do we create a puzzle using blocks? This is like all these blocks have been placed on top, and it's actually a maze, and there's only one way to the bedroom, and all the the hotel bedroom, but all the rest of the doors lead back out. It's super confusing. It was made by a student. I love it. I can't do it. Save and exit. And then let me go into another world before I move on to the big narrative-driven maths worlds. There's our learning the basics. I was going to go to immersive education. Let me show you one of the maths things that we do here. And this world is full of mathematics. So in this one we have a cinema. we got the kids to make a cinema, and then we had them run the cinema. So when we head inside, so you'll see this is called Blockonomics, and it's all about helping children to understand economics. And that, you know, you have a working model here. So here we have, there we go, look, screen 1, Ragnaroking Christmas. And screen 2, I know what you did 20 years ago this summer. And so the kids can go in and they can choose what movie they want to buy. By the way, the kids did this, they loved this. And they can choose, and we can have businesses. So let's just get ourselves a little NPC. And our little NPC, this is exclusive to Education Edition, but we can have an NPC here that says Cinnamon. Hi, the movie tickets cost £12 each, or you can get 3 for 20% off. And we can start to give our children maths puzzles based on scenarios that they would find themselves in the real world, in the fake world. So they say, oh, I would like 3 tickets. And so you might have a currency in game, or you might have a spreadsheet that they keep outside and calculations outside. And then they head over here where they have to go and get their popcorn. So fizzy drinks, £2.50, fizzy water, £5, hot dogs, £7.50. And then you can say to them, and there's the popcorn is 3, 5, 7 and 9 for small, medium, large and American. That wasn't me. That was my kids. And so what we're able to do is you're able to then go in there and say, Popcorn Girl. Popcorn Gal says, we have a 30% discount on food when you buy 3 tickets or more. And all of a sudden, the kids are working out the mathematics of money. And they're like, oh, that means my total saving for the cinema, instead of spending £50, I only spent £33, for example. And they can work that out. And then when they're finished, they can head into the cinema and they can go up the stairs, whoops, and they can take their seat. And then what I do is, I have them sit there. We've done this, it's bizarre. And then I overlay YouTube against there and we watch a short cartoon or something, and the kids think it's great because they actually went to the cinema. You'd be amazed how compliant they are when they think they're going to the cinema to get fake tickets, fake popcorn and watch a fake movie. It's amazing. And then toilets. Oh look, male bathroom, female bathroom. They got it slightly wrong. So that's one of our mathematical our things there. But what about construction? We talked about decorating a house. What about building a house? What if we gave them construction costs and told them to build a building that housed 3 offices, 2 toilets? What if they had to build the cinema first and they had to build it mathematically? And they were given a budget. You've been given £20,000 to build a cinema. That's a cheap cinema, right? But you've been given £20,000 to build a cinema, but you need to make your money back in the first year by twice as much. You need to have 40,000 back. So you need to think about what it is that you're going to do. How are you going to do that? Set up a business, go. What about charging for car parking? And then we can do the maths with them. You get 17 cars on Monday, a further 37 cars on Tuesday, but you only get 5 on Wednesday because, hey, COVID-19. And suddenly we can do the maths and get the kids thinking about charging for cars and car parks in cities. Which I'm against, by the way, as on principle. I have all sorts of other ideas about parking solutions, and that is not one of them. What about the maths of something like this? What about the weight of vertical forestry? Let's look at weight and volume of water. What if we were to have, we know that a tree on average weighs X. So we know that a tree weighs 1 pound in weight, 1 kilo in weight. And then we also know that the soil that tree needs is 6 kilos because it needs 6 around it. 9. So it's 9 kilos plus the 1 kilo tree. And then the water, and you can do this as a real experiment. You can get a small sapling tree from a garden centre and you can weigh it. Then you can get the soil that it needs and you can weigh that. Weigh the pot and then weigh the water once it's been and weigh it. And you can see on real scales that the children have this amazing sort of, they're like, oh, the tree like weighed nothing. But with the soil and the water in the pot, it weighs so much more. And then we say that's right. So when countries like Singapore, Italy and Vietnam, for example, do incredible stuff with vertical forestry, they have to take into account the weight of that stuff. And so we build a forest, and then we have a vertical forest in the city, and then we have the kids work out the weight of the platforms, and then they have to work out the depth of the stuff that they need to be able to hold it, and so on and so on. So it's an engineering and mathematical program for them. What else? I'm going to head to the space one. I told you I'd show you space. Oh, this is a nice one actually, before I head in space, because space is just here. But what about this one? This is tessellation. Some people say, you know, tessellation is the organisation of shapes into a space as neatly as possible. It's pattern making, if you can, because patterns always work out neatly. But what about if it wasn't? What if it was just being able to understand how shapes work together? So we set up a storage facility. And then in this storage facility, I give the kids a shelf. This is your shelf, this is Tracy's shelf, this is Adrian's shelf, and so on. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you parcels. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to give you parcels. I, the teacher, I'm going to stand here and say, blue, pink, pink, purple, yellow, and then the kids are going to build. And what they have to do is, they have a set amount of time to build as many of those shapes into a tessellated neat package, because if they can't, then they can't store it. And I will give them a diamond for every shape at the end that they managed to store successfully, neatly. So they want as little gaps in there as possible, and I'll give them diamonds. How many diamonds did this kid get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So they earned 9 diamonds before the game was up. And so it's just a gamified way of getting children to think about how shapes tessellate together. Head over to space now. So we're going to go into our little space station. And then this little NPC says, hey, and welcome to the Immersive Space Centre. Our latest exhibition is our solar system. We've miniaturised the planets, so they're gone. We've miniaturised them using a machine, and we've brought them into our building so you can see them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to buy our ticket, we're going to head downstairs, and we will find ourselves inside our solar system. And what's nice about this is not only do the kids get a chance to learn about the planets, but the distance between the planets is mathematically correct. So now we're looking at scale. What if we did something that meant that this was actually the correct scale? So let's do something like measuring this. 1, 2. So that's 2 blocks. So the sun is 2 blocks from Mercury. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoops. But Mercury is 6 blocks from Venus. And if we look at the scale, this was made by kids in one of our classes, if we then go and say, so what does that make 1 block then? And we go online, we research the distance from one planet to another, and we check what that looks like. And we end up with a scale. So 1 block is 1.5 thousand light years, for example. And then we can then create an accurate representation of our solar system. And we can see just how far Saturn is from Neptune. I think, yep. And so we can see that. So just another maths example. Taking the time to just sit with your children in class or at home and say, right, let's build a solar system. This is what we want it to look like. And do the maths while you're doing it. And that's the great thing about Minecraft, is you can merge so many different learning opportunities. So do geography while you're doing maths, do science while you're doing art, and have it all built in there. Do literacy while you're doing science, for example. And then I think I'm gonna end on this one before I show you the big narrative mathematics, and I'll really end the stream on that. But this one is a real building that exists in Scotland, this big grey building here, and it's called Pennycook House. And Pennycook House was burned in 1899. It was burned to the ground in a tragic fire, and it had been going since it had been sort of built in the 1600s. So it was this gorgeous historical Neo-Palladian 1600s house, and it was burned down. And so what we did was we got the kids to build this one-to-one scale in Minecraft. We did it first, and we did it all as a big sort of event, and then since then we've had the children visit the ruin, and what they do is they measure it, and they measure the height, and they sketch it, and they draw it, and they do plans and side elevations, and get them there on a sunny day and with canvases and sketch pads and whatever, and they'll do so much stuff. And then that's all data, that's visual data. They've taken meter sticks and they've measured the circumference of the building. And then we get them to go back with their photographs and their sketches and their paintings and their meter stick readings and their short videos, and we had a drone go above it at one point. And then they go back to Minecraft, to their classrooms, and they build it one-to-one scale. So if you were to visit Pennycook House today, this is literally one-to-one scale, one block being 1 meter. This is what it looks like. And you can go inside, and there's a mystery room down here with some broken steps that nobody knows what it does. There's a little hole at the wall, and the kids don't know what that's for. They think it was maybe like a little scullery. And then if we head over, we're now in the, this would have been the servants' quarters, and this would have been the staircase that took them upstairs to the main house, but it's broken. There should be a floor here, because this, if I just get a piece of, this would have been the floor leading through to the doorways. So the kids were able to build all of this by taking mathematical data of the building and then making it. This would have been a fireplace, and so the floor would have been here, and that would have been a nice fireplace in the Great Hall, what they called the Ossian Room. Sylvia, lovely to see you from Brazil. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's got to be super early in the morning for you, right? I hope everyone in Brazil is safe and well from this virus. And so you can see there just what's possible by allowing children to play with Minecraft mathematically. An entire historical recreation of a building, one-to-one scale. And then of course all the historical stuff that comes with that. Who lived there, the clothing, the currency, the language, the food, the people, like let's look at the history of this building while we're building it. Where were the dog kennels? Where were the horses kept? Because we know they kept horses, and so on and so on. And so finally, let me show you a narrative-based mathematical world. This is available on fidgetallabs.com. I will Facebook out or chat the address for this, but this is called Mathpocalypse, and the entire world is a narrative-driven, a story maths world. I just need to find it. I've got so many worlds, it's scary. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of worlds, all based on lessons. It's not any of them. It's not forest biome, jungle biome. Mathpocalypse. If anybody sees it, shout at me through the TV. It's really interesting. It better not be deleted. I'm terrible at stuff like that. It's not that far down, I know that much. I've passed it. I know I have. It's called Breakout. No, Break In, actually it's called. And I am, oh there it is, look at that, Break In, Mathpocalypse, got it. Right, so let's jump into this one and show you what this looks like. I'm going to keep this short because I've done it, I've mentioned it a few times, but this entire world is set on the arm of a giant zombie. It's basically an arm in the ocean. This will be available, this world is going to be available on the marketplace, the official Minecraft marketplace soon for Bedrock, but at the moment it's just in Education Edition, and it's a huge hand with a city held in its grasp, and the city has a zombie apocalypse happening. Started with some science experiment somewhere in an underground lab, and now the world is in danger. Umbrella Corporation is real. And so as we head over here, you'll see that we have a starting point. And this is where we build in, rather than just having random, I mean, I've showed you everything from just basic counting today to scale and area and plan elevation, side elevation, 2D, 3D shapes, and so on. But actually, what if we just incorporated that into a story? So here's the story. You've survived a crash, a plane crash, and you've landed on an island that you don't know anything about. And you meet Dr. Wells, who says, hey, so glad you survived. One of the 3 paths behind us leads you through and out the forest to the train station. You have to make it to the city to help us find a cure. And there's 3 paths. There's a blue path, there's a green path, and there's a yellow path. So what if we did something like, this is all number based, this is all pattern recognition. So from here we have to go, we're looking for the path that has the correct pattern. 2 don't have a pattern at all, one of them does. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's good. So far we've got 6, 12. Sounds like our pattern, right? So the next one, by our reckoning, should either be, and this is where we want our children to think about this, it's either 6, 12. Right, Bron, thank you so much for coming in. Yes, exactly. Let your avatar take the risks. You sleep well, stay safe in Australia. Good night. So the next one should be 6, 12, 18 or 6, 12, 24, because maybe it's doubling every time. So we're looking for 18 or 24, our kids would imagine. So that would be, or it could be 6, 12, 6, 12, 6, 12. So maybe we're looking for another 6. We're getting the kids to think about this as they go along. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Awesome. So 6, 12, 24. That's sweet, right? We're onto a pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6, 12, 24, 12. It's just going backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, hang on a minute. 9, 10, 11, 12. So 6, 12, 24, 12, 12. That's not a pattern. And I don't even know what's going on here. And then we would go, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a 6. This is a mess. This is not a pattern. So it's maybe not the blue one. Now, I'm not saying it's not. You might find a pattern, but we get the kids to measure that all the time. Or the green one, or the yellow one. And so once you choose that, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but once you choose the path and you think you've found the solution, you make your way out of the forest. You have to fight zombies along the way, and you can find campsites, and it's great adventure. And then you have to go in and you have to stop. I'm just going to get rid of that. Oops, I can't. You have to start up the electricity by using this numbering system. So it's our number pattern recognition. If you pull the levers, so if I just stop those just now, you'll see that there's no lights on there. But if I pick one, you'll see that a light has appeared. But it's only the right ones. And you have to light them all to make sure that this door opens. And once the door's opened, you can make your way to the train station, and you can make your way to the city, and there's another maths puzzle when you get there, and so on. And so rather than doing just singular lessons, this is a great way of having your children truly engage in a narrative, a mathematics narrative. You do X, Y will happen. You do Y, Z will happen. But you have to know your X, Y, and Z to get there. You have to know your times tables. You have to know your hundreds, tens, and units. You have to know your scales, your averages, your ratios. You know, we could even do that here. We could really quickly do something like, what is the ratio of, whoops, in this room, what is the ratio, the wire broke the glass, of zombies to humans? Vinnie Volt being a human. So the ratio is 2 to 1. And it's easy, but that we could complicate that. We could add more zombies, we could add more humans, and we can create ratios as well. So I'm going to stop the stream there, but hopefully you've all had enough food for thought. Has that another one come in? Oh look, it's now 3 to 1, so the ratio changes. And again, we can just keep monitoring that. and have maybe data collected. So in 30 minutes, the ratio changed from this to this, and the median was this. The median ratio was this. So let me stop there with this lovely view of this gorgeous city, and then with the sun going down behind it. And what I ask you to do is follow me on twitch.tv/immersive mind, follow me on mixer.com/immersive mind, and have a look at my follow me on Facebook, Immersive Mind, Twitter, Immersive Mind, and also check out youtube.com/c/immersive minds, the plural, for more of this stuff. We're going to be doing this twice a day, every day. This afternoon, in 5 hours time, I'm going to be looking at literacy. Today was maths, this morning was maths, later is literacy. And if you need anything, reach out to me. Everybody stay safe, everybody stay healthy, everybody stay indoors. And I will chat to you in 5 hours. Bye folks.